When the most dangerous man in Seoul traced his fingers down my spine at 2 a.m., I had no idea I was about to become a pawn in a deadly game between brothers. My name is Amara. And this is the story of how I went from checking in warehouse deliveries in Gangnam to being the prize two Mafia brothers were willing to destroy an empire over. They say love conquers all. But what happens when love becomes a weapon? When passion turns into possession? When the man who makes you feel alive has a brother who makes you feel seen? By the end of this story, one brother would be banished. One would win my hand. And I would learn that sometimes the most dangerous place in the world is between two men who refuse to lose. Before I tell you how it ended, you need to understand how it began. Because the questions that haunted me then are the same ones that will haunt you now. How does an ordinary woman fall for a mafia boss? What makes a brother betray a brother? And when two kings fight for the same queen, who really wins? I came to Seoul with $347 in my pocket, a tourist visa that was about to expire, and a dream that was already dying. I was nobody. A warehouse front desk girl who smiled at delivery drivers and pretended my studio apartment wasn't the size of a closet. But here's what I didn't know. The man who signed my paychecks? He didn't just own the warehouse. He owned half of Seoul's underground. And soon, he would want to own me too. Let me take you back. Lagos, 2022. I was 28 years old, working 3 jobs, and still couldn't afford my mother's medical bills. My father had passed 2 years earlier. My younger siblings were looking at me like I was supposed to have all the answers. But I had none. Just debt, exhaustion, and a growing sense that if I stayed in Lagos one more year, I'd disappear into the same cycle of poverty that had swallowed my parents. Korea wasn't my first choice. It was my only choice. My cousin Jin-Woo had moved to Seoul 5 years earlier, married a Korean man, and kept sending photos of this land of opportunity. Clean streets. Good money. A fresh start. She made it look easy. Like you could just show up and reinvent yourself. I was desperate enough to believe her. So I sold everything I owned. My father's watch. My mother's gold jewelry. The small plot of land we'd inherited. Said goodbye to my mother, not knowing if I'd ever see her again, and boarded a 15-hour flight to a country where I didn't speak the language, didn't know the culture, and didn't belong. The flight was the longest night of my life. I sat in economy, squeezed between a businessman who snored and a window that showed nothing but darkness. And I thought, what am I doing? What if this is the biggest mistake of my life? But I couldn't turn back. There was nothing to turn back to. The first 3 months in Seoul were hell. Not the kind of hell you see in movies. The quiet kind. The kind where you wake up every morning and wonder if today's the day you'll finally break. I applied to 47 jobs. Got rejected from 46. The Korean employers would look at my resume, see my Nigerian name, and their faces would close off. Polite smiles. We'll be in touch. We never were. I lived with Jin-Woo and her husband in their tiny apartment in Mapo. Slept on their couch. Ate their food. Felt like a burden every single day. Her husband, Sung-min, was kind, but I could see it in his eyes. The question. How long is she staying? I was running out of time. Running out of money. Running out of hope. And then Seoul Logistics called. The one that said yes. A massive warehouse in Gangnam that imported luxury goods from across Asia. Designer handbags. Italian shoes. Swiss watches. Things I could never afford to own. The pay was decent. The hours were long. And my boss? I didn't meet him for the first 6 weeks. He was just a name on my contract. Park Jin-Woo, CEO. But the warehouse manager, Mr. Choi, always spoke about him in whispers. Like he was a ghost. Or a god. The other workers, mostly Korean women in their 40s, would gossip about him during lunch breaks. About how he'd built the business from nothing after his father died. About the rumors. The connections. The kind of power that didn't come from just importing handbags. One woman, Mrs. Kim, leaned in close to me one day and said in broken English that Boss Park was a very dangerous man and I should stay away. I laughed it off. Figured it was just office gossip. I had no reason to think I'd ever even meet him. Men like that don't notice women like me. And then one Tuesday morning in March, everything changed. It was 9:47 a.m. I remember because I looked up at the clock, wondering why everyone suddenly went silent. The warehouse floor, usually buzzing with forklifts and chatter, went completely still. He walked in through the main entrance. And I swear, the air shifted. He was tall. Over 6 feet. Sharp black suit that looked like it cost more than my entire year's salary. Hair pushed back. Strong jawline. But it wasn't his looks that made me stare. It was the way he moved. Like he owned the air around him. Like gravity bent his will. Like every person in that building existed solely because he allowed it. Our eyes met for maybe 3 seconds. But I swear to you, I felt it in my chest. In my throat. Heat rising up my neck. My hands went numb. I gripped my pen tighter, trying to look busy, trying to look anywhere but at him. But I couldn't. My eyes followed him like they had a mind of their own. He walked past my desk without a word. Close enough that I caught his scent. Something expensive. Cedar and bergamot. Something that made my stomach flip. He disappeared into the elevator with Mr. Choi. And I sat there, heart pounding so loud I was sure everyone could hear it, telling myself, Amara, don't be stupid. Men like that don't notice women like you. I tried to go back to work. But my hands were shaking. I had to set down my coffee cup because I was afraid I'd spill it. Mrs. Kim walked past my desk and smiled knowingly, commenting that Boss Park was very handsome, yes? I pretended I hadn't noticed. But my face was burning. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying those 3 seconds. The way his eyes had locked onto mine. Dark. Intense. Like he was reading every secret I'd ever kept. I told myself it was nothing. That I'd imagined it. That tomorrow I'd go back to work and he'd be gone and everything would return to normal. But here's the thing about dangerous men. They always notice. And they never forget. For 2 weeks, I didn't see him. The warehouse returned to normal. I started to relax. Started to think maybe I'd built the whole thing up in my head. And then came that Friday night. It was almost 8 p.m. Everyone had gone home except me. I'd stayed late to finish inventory reports because I was still trying to prove I deserved to be there. Trying to prove I wasn't just the diversity hire some of the Korean staff whispered about when they thought I couldn't hear. The warehouse at night is a different place. The fluorescent lights hum. The silence is so thick you can hear your own breathing. I was alone at my desk, typing, when I heard them. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Echoing on the concrete floor. My heart started racing before I even turned around. Because somehow I knew. I knew who it was. I turned around and there he was. Jin-Woo. Standing maybe 10 feet away. Tie loosened. Top button undone. Holding a glass of whiskey. And looking at me like I was the only person in the world. You work late. His voice was deeper than I expected. Rich. The kind of voice that could command a room or whisper secrets. Both equally dangerous. Yes, sir. Just finishing reports. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. Breathier. I hated how affected I sounded. You can call me Jin-Woo. Sir makes me feel old. He walked closer. Each step deliberate. Measured. Like a predator who knew his prey wasn't going anywhere. His English was perfect. Just a slight accent that made every word sound intentional. And the way he looked at me. God, it was like he could see straight through my clothes, through my skin, into every secret I'd ever kept. Jin-Woo. Okay. He was close enough now that I had to tilt my head up to look at him. Close enough that I could smell that scent again. Cedar and bergamot. Close enough that I could see the slight stubble on his jaw. You're from Nigeria. It wasn't a question. He said it like he'd been thinking about it. Like he'd spent time learning about me. You know that? I know everything about the people who work for me, Amara. The way he said my name. Slow. Like he was tasting it. Like he'd been practicing it in private. 3 syllables that suddenly felt intimate. Dangerous. My breath caught. I set down my pen because my hands were starting to shake again. Are you afraid of me? He leaned against my desk. Casual. But there was nothing casual about the tension crackling between us. Should I be? The question came out before I could stop it. Bold. Maybe too bold. But something in his eyes made me brave. Or stupid. I wasn't sure which. He smiled then. Just the corner of his mouth lifting. And leaned in. Close enough that I could feel the warmth of his breath. Yes. One word. Whispered. And then he straightened up, picked up his glass, and walked away. Just like that. Left me standing there, knees weak, hands shaking, heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. I heard the elevator doors close. And I collapsed back into my chair. What the hell just happened? I sat there for 20 minutes. Maybe longer. Trying to catch my breath. Trying to understand why my entire body felt like it was on fire. Why I could still feel the phantom warmth of him standing close to me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed in Jin-Woo's apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second. His voice. His eyes. The way he'd said my name. Part of me knew I should run. Should request a transfer. Should put as much distance between myself and Park Jin-Woo as possible. But the other part? The other part wanted to see how close I could get to the flame before I burned. The other part had been invisible for so long that being seen, really seen, by someone like him felt like oxygen. I was in trouble. Deep trouble. And I knew it. The next 3 weeks were torture. Beautiful, exquisite torture. He started finding reasons to walk past my desk. Always in the morning. Always around 9:30. He'd nod. I'd nod back. No words. Just that look. That look that made my stomach flip and my skin flush. Sometimes his hand would brush mine when he handed me papers to file. Just a touch. Barely there. But I'd feel it for hours afterward. My skin tingling where his fingers had grazed. I started staying late on purpose. Hoping he'd show up again. Hoping for another one of those charged conversations where every word felt like it meant 12 other things. And he knew. I could tell he knew. There'd be this glint in his eye when he'd see me still at my desk at 7 p.m. This knowing smile that said, "You're here for me." Mrs. Kim started giving me looks. Concerned looks. She pulled me aside one day in the break room. "Amara, sure. Boss Park, he look at you different. Be careful. It's nothing. We barely talk. That why it dangerous. The things we don't say." She was right. The silence between us was louder than words. Every glance. Every almost touch. Every moment of awareness when we were in the same room. I'd be at my desk and I'd feel him before I'd see him. This electric charge in the air that made all the hair on my arm stand up. I'd look up and he'd be on the second floor, watching me through the glass of his office. Not even hiding it. Just watching. It should have scared me. Maybe it did. But it also made me feel alive in a way I'd never felt before. And then came the day that changed everything. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I was at my desk, processing a delivery shipment, when someone approached. I looked up, expecting another delivery driver. But it wasn't. It was a man who looked almost like Jin-Woo. Same height. Same bone structure. But where Jin-Woo was all sharp edges and darkness, this man was sunlight. He smiled. And it wasn't the careful, controlled smile Jin-Woo gave. It was wide. Genuine. Warm. "You must be Amara. My brother talks about you." I almost dropped my pen. He does? More than he thinks I notice. "I'm Min-Jae. The better-looking brother." He extended his hand. I shook it. His handshake was firm but friendly. And his hand was warm. Not the electric shock I got from Jin-Woo. But something different. Something safe. "Listen, I'm heading to grab lunch. Wanna come? I know this amazing Nigerian restaurant in Itaewon. Real jollof rice, not the Korean fusion stuff." My eyes widened. He spoke English with an American accent. Casual. Easy. Like we'd known each other for years. "Wait, seriously? Scout's honor. Unless you're busy?" I glanced toward Jin-Woo's office upstairs. The blinds were closed. But I could feel him. Even through the walls, I could feel him. I should have said no. Should have remembered Jin-Woo's warning. "You should be afraid of me." Should have remembered the way he looked at me. Possessive. Claiming. But Min-Jae felt like freedom. Like I could breathe again. Like for one afternoon, I could be a normal woman having lunch with a normal man. I'd love to. His face lit up. Perfect. Let me just tell my brother I'm stealing his employee for an hour. Before I could stop him, he was heading upstairs. I watched, heart in my throat, as he knocked on Jin-Woo's office door and disappeared inside. They were in there for maybe 2 minutes. I couldn't hear what they were saying. But when Min-Jae emerged, his smile was still in place. Jin-Woo followed him out. And the look Jin-Woo gave me. Cold. Dangerous. A warning. But Min-Jae was already back at my desk, oblivious or pretending to be. Ready? I stood up, grabbed my bag, and followed him out, feeling Jin-Woo's eyes burning into my back the entire way. The restaurant was exactly what Min-Jae promised. Small. Tucked away in a basement in Itaewon. The smell of jollof rice and suya hit me the moment we walked in, and I almost cried. It smelled like home. Like Lagos. Like my mother's kitchen. Good choice? How did you even find this place? I lived in New York for 8 years. Brooklyn. Dated a Nigerian girl for 2 of those years. She taught me everything. Jollof rice, pounded yam, the difference between egusi and ogbono soup. He said the words perfectly. No accent. Like he'd said them 1,000 times. We ordered. And when the food came, I took one bite and tears actually filled my eyes. It tasted exactly like home. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I haven't had real Nigerian food since I got here. This is. I know. He handed me a napkin. Our fingers touched. And it was gentle. Sweet. Nothing like the electric shock of Jin-Woo's touch. But something that made me feel seen in a different way. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about New York. About studying business at NYU. About his love for hip-hop and basketball. About how he'd always felt like Jin-Woo's shadow growing up. Jin-Woo is the heir. The firstborn. The one our father groomed to take over. I was just the spare. The backup plan in case Jin-Woo failed. That must have been hard. You get used to it. You learn to find your own path. That's why I left for America. To be someone outside of my brother's shadow. But you came back. Family obligation. My father died. Jin-Woo needed me. Or he said he did. Sometimes I think he just wanted to keep an eye on me. There was something in his voice. Bitterness. Resentment. Old wounds that hadn't healed. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Has he made a move? Min-Jae set down his fork. Looked at me with those warm eyes. And smiled sadly. What do you mean? You know what I mean. Jin-Woo doesn't look at people the way he looks at you, Amara. Trust me, I know my brother. I've watched him my whole life. And I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. My heart was pounding. But I also know Jin-Woo. He's complicated. Dangerous, even. He doesn't love. He possesses. He doesn't care. He claims. And you're not? He laughed. But there was no humor in it. I'm dangerous in different ways. He reached across the table. His hand covered mine. Warm. Gentle. His thumb traced small circles on my skin. Can I be honest with you? Please. The moment I saw you at that desk, I knew. I knew my brother wanted you. And I knew that for the first time in my life, I wanted the same thing he wanted. And I knew that was going to be a problem. My breath caught. So I'm going to tell you something. And you can do with it what you want. If you get involved with Jin-Woo, he will consume you. He will make you forget who you are. He will be incredible and terrible, and you'll never know which one you're getting. He paused. But if you give me a chance, just one chance, I promise I'll cherish you. I'll see you. Not as a prize. Not as a possession. But as Amara. Just Amara. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. This man I'd met 2 hours ago was offering me everything I'd ever wanted. Safety. Kindness. To be cherished. But my body was still buzzing from Jin-Woo's proximity. Still craving that danger. That fire. You don't have to answer now. I just wanted you to know. You have options. He drove me back to the warehouse. The drive was quiet. Comfortable. His car smelled like vanilla and leather. He played American R&B. We didn't talk. But it wasn't awkward. He parked outside the warehouse. Walked me to the door. And right before I went inside, he caught my hand. Amara? I turned. He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Different from Jin-Woo's. Lighter. Sweeter. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers lingering on my cheek. Whatever you choose. Whoever you choose. Just know, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. Really loved. His thumb brushed across my lower lip. Soft. gentle. And for a second, I thought he might kiss me. But he didn't. He stepped back, smiled, and walked back to his car. I stood there, hand on the door, watching him drive away. Heart racing, mind spinning. And then I turned, pushed open the warehouse door. Jin-Woo was standing right there, like he'd been waiting, watching. His face was unreadable, but his eyes were black fire. Did you enjoy your lunch? It wasn't really a question. Yes, Min-Jae was very kind. I'm sure he was. He stepped closer, invaded my space. So close I had to tilt my head back to look at him. Did he tell you he'd cherish you? My eyes widened. How did he know? My brother is predictable. He always wants what I have. And he always thinks kindness will win. His hand came up, cupped my jaw. Firm. Possessive. Nothing gentle about it. But here's what Min-Jae doesn't understand, Amara. You don't want to be cherished. You want to be consumed. His thumb pressed against my lower lip. The same place Min-Jae had touched. But this felt different. Claiming. Erasing. So let him play his game. Let him take you to restaurants and tell you sweet lies. But we both know how this ends. He leaned in. His lips brushed against my ear. You're already mine. You just don't know it yet. And then he was gone. Disappeared into the elevator. Left me standing there, trembling, confused, burning. What the hell had I gotten myself into? Okay, pause. If you're still here at this point, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now and tell me, Team Jin-Woo or Team Min-Jae. Because what happens next, you're going to need to pick a side. 1 week later, everything changed. I came home to my tiny room at Chinny's apartment to find a box on my bed. Black. Elegant. Tied with a silver ribbon. Inside was a dress. Black silk. Backless. The kind of dress that cost more than 3 months of my rent. And a note in sharp, masculine handwriting. Dinner. Tonight. A car will pick you up at 8. Wear this. Nothing else. Jin-Woo. Nothing else. My face burned reading it. But my hands were already reaching for the dress. I should have said no. Should have texted him some excuse. Should have remembered that this man was dangerous. That his brother had warned me. That I was playing with fire. But I didn't. At 8 p.m. exactly, a black car pulled up. The driver opened the door. Didn't speak. Just waited. I got in. The drive took 30 minutes. We wound through Seoul, climbed into the hills, stopped in front of a building that looked like it belonged in a magazine. All glass and steel and money. The driver opened my door. Led me to a private elevator. Pressed the button for the penthouse. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. The elevator doors opened directly into the penthouse. And there he was. Jin-Woo. Standing by floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking all of Seoul. Wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Dark pants. Hair slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it. He turned when he heard the elevator. And the way he looked at me. Like a man starving. You're beautiful. I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. The dress clung to every curve. Left my back completely bare. I'd never worn anything like it. He walked toward me. Slow. Deliberate. Predatory. And with each step, my heart beat faster. He stopped in front of me. Didn't touch me yet. Just looked. Turn around. It wasn't a request. I turned. Slowly. Feeling his eyes travel over every inch of exposed skin. Perfect. His finger touched the base of my spine. Just one finger. Traced slowly up my bare back. Over each vertebrae. So light it almost tickled. But everywhere he touched felt like fire. I gasped. Couldn't help it. Sensitive. His voice was amused. Dark. His hand spread across my back. Palm warm against my skin. And he pulled me back against his chest. I've been patient, Amara. So patient. Watching you. Wanting you. Imagining all the ways I'd touch you when I finally got you alone. His other hand came around. Rested just below my throat. Not choking. Just claiming. Tell me. Did you think about me this week? Yes. The word came out breathless. While you were with my brother. While he was being kind to you. Were you thinking about me? Yes. Good. He turned me around. his hands on my waist, and kissed me. Not gentle, not sweet, consuming. His mouth claiming mine like he was trying to erase every other kiss I'd ever had. His hands gripping my waist hard enough to bruise. I kissed him back just as desperately. My hands in his hair. My body pressed against his. Years of being invisible, being nothing, being nobody, all burning away in this one kiss. He pulled back. We were both breathing hard. Dinner first. Jin-Woo. Patience. I want to enjoy this. Enjoy you. He led me to a table set for two. Candles. Wine. Food that looked like art. We sat. And for the first time, we talked. Really talked. He told me about his father. About inheriting an empire at 25. About the pressure. The expectations. The loneliness of being at the top. Everyone wants something from me. Everyone sees the power, the money, the name. No one sees me. I see you. He looked at me. Really looked. Yes, you do. That's why you're dangerous. We ate. Drank wine that probably cost more than my monthly salary. And with every sip, the air between us grew heavier. Thicker. His foot found mine under the table. Slid up my calf. I nearly choked on my wine. My brother likes you. The subject shift was deliberate. Testing. He's kind. He is. Kinder than me. He set down his wine glass. Leaned back in his chair. Eyes never leaving mine. But kindness isn't what you need, is it, Amara? What do I need? Someone who isn't afraid to claim you. Someone who will worship every inch of you but never let you forget who you belong to. He stood. Walked around the table. Extended his hand. Come here. I took his hand. He pulled me up. Led me to the windows. All of Seoul. From up here, it looks peaceful. Beautiful. But down there? It's chaos. People fighting. Scheming. Destroying each other for scraps. His hand slid around my waist. Pulled me back against him. I built an empire in that chaos. Do you know how? How? By taking what I want. And never letting go. His lips found my neck. Kissed down to my shoulder. His hand splayed across my stomach. Holding me against him. I want you, Amara. Not for a night. Not for a game. I want to own every gasp, every moan, every thought in that beautiful head. He spun me around. Lifted me. My legs wrapped around his waist instinctively. Tell me no. Tell me to stop. Tell me you don't want this. I looked into his eyes. Dark. Intense. Dangerous. I can't. I know. He carried me to his bedroom. Set me down on silk sheets. And kissed me like he was drowning and I was air. His hands were everywhere. Sliding up my thighs. Unzipping my dress with agonizing slowness. His mouth following the path of his hands. Kissing every inch of newly exposed skin. So beautiful. So perfect. Mine. The word mine was set against my skin like a brand. Jin-Woo. Say it. Say you're mine. I'm yours. Again. I'm yours, Jin-Woo. And then there were no more words. Just sensation. His mouth. His hands. His body claiming mine in ways that made me forget my own name. He was right. I didn't want to be cherished. I wanted to be consumed. And he consumed me completely. Afterward, we lay tangled in his sheets. The city lights of Seoul glowing through the windows. His fingers traced lazy patterns on my spine. Stay. Jin-Woo. I'm not asking. I should have been annoyed by his arrogance. But I wasn't. I turned in his arms. Looked at him in the dim light. What are we doing? Whatever we want. Your brother. His hand tightened on my waist. My brother can have anyone. He can't have you. That's not fair. I don't care about fair. I care about this. He kissed me again. Softer this time. But no less possessive. I fell asleep in his arms. In his bed. In silk sheets that smelled like him. And when I woke up in the morning, sunlight streaming through the windows, him still sleeping next to me looking almost peaceful, I let myself believe. Just for a moment. That this could be real. That I could be the woman Park Jin-Woo chose. And then my phone buzzed. A text from Min-Jae. Coffee? I need to talk to you. My stomach dropped. Jin-Woo was still asleep. I could ignore it. Pretend I never saw it. But I didn't. I got dressed quietly. left Jin-Woo a note, and went to meet the other brother, because I was already in too deep, and I didn't know how to stop. The coffee shop was crowded. Morning rush. Office workers grabbing their caffeine fix before work. I spotted Min-Jae in a corner booth. He looked tired. Dark circles under his eyes. Like he hadn't slept. He stood when he saw me. Pulled out my chair. Ever the gentleman. Thanks for coming. Of course. We ordered. Awkward silence stretched between us. I could feel him looking at me. Studying me. You slept with him. Not a question. A statement. My face burned. Min-Jae. It's fine. I mean, it's not fine. But I get it. He laughed. But there was no humor in it. Just pain. He always wins. Always. Even when we were kids. Our father would set up these competitions. Business scenarios. Strategy games. And Jin-Woo would win every time. Not because he was smarter, but because he was willing to do whatever it took. He stirred his coffee. Didn't drink it. I told myself this time would be different. This time I'd be faster. Smarter. I'd get to you first. Make you see me. But I was too slow. Too respectful. Min-Jae, I'm sorry. Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong. He finally looked up at me. And his eyes were raw. Vulnerable. But I need to know something. Is this real? What you have with Jin-Woo? Or is this just another game to him? I don't know. And that was the truth. I didn't know. Jin-Woo made me feel things I'd never felt. But was it love? Or was it possession? Can I tell you something? Something I've never told anyone? Please. He reached across the table. Took my hand. His touch was so different from Jin-Woo's. Warm. Safe. I've spent my entire life in my brother's shadow. Being the spare. The backup. The one who wasn't quite good enough. And I accepted it. I thought that's just how it was. He paused. Swallowed hard. But then I met you. And for the first time, I wanted something for myself. Not because it was expected. Not because it would prove something to my father or my brother. But because you make me feel like I matter. Tears stung my eyes. You see me, Amara. Just me. Not the air. Not the shadow. Just Min-Jae. And that's something I've never had. I do see you. I know. That's why this hurts so much. He pulled his hand back. Ran it through his hair. I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm not asking you to choose me. I just needed you to know what you mean to me. What this could have been. The barista called my name. My latte was ready. I didn't move. Go get your coffee, Amara. Before it gets cold. I stood. Walked to the counter. Got my latte. And when I turned back, Min-Jae was watching me with this look. This look that said everything he couldn't say out loud. I sat back down. What if I told you I didn't want to choose? What if I told you that Jin-Woo makes me feel alive, but you make me feel safe? What if I need both? Then you'd be human. Because we all want both. The fire and the safety. The chaos and the peace. He leaned forward. But you can't have both. Not with brothers. Not with men like us. Eventually, you have to choose. What if I can't? Then we choose for you. The weight of those words settled between us. A promise. A threat. I have to go. Meeting with suppliers. He stood. Pulled on his jacket. But before he left, he leaned down. Kissed my forehead. Let his lips linger there. Whatever happens, Amara. Know that I meant every word. And then he was gone. I sat there alone. Coffee growing cold. Mind spinning. I'd slept with one brother. Fallen for the other. And I had no idea how this would end. But I knew one thing for certain. Someone was going to get hurt. And it might be all three of us. For 2 months, I lived a lie. Or maybe I lived a truth I wasn't ready to face. With Jin-Woo, every moment was intensity. He'd text me at midnight. Come to me. Not a question. A command. And I'd go. Every time. He'd meet me at the door of his penthouse. Sometimes he'd kiss me immediately. Push me against the wall, hands already pulling at my clothes, mouth hot and demanding. I've been thinking about you all day. About all the ways I'm going to make you scream my name. And he would. He'd carry me to his bedroom, or sometimes not even make it that far. The couch. The kitchen counter. Against the windows overlooking Seoul. Look at them. All those people down there. None of them get to have this. Get to have you. His hand would tilt my chin up, forcing me to look at the city while he claimed me from behind. Say you're mine. I'm yours. Louder. I'm yours, Jin-Woo. Good girl. Those words. Good girl. Said in that voice. They destroyed me every time. Afterward, we'd lie in his bed. He'd trace patterns on my skin. Sometimes he'd talk about business. About deals gone wrong. About men who'd betrayed him and how he'd made them pay. And I'd wonder, if I betrayed him, would he make me pay too? But then he'd kiss my shoulder, pull me closer, and whisper, I've never let anyone sleep in my bed before. You're the first. And I'd believe, for a little while, that I was special, that this meant something. But then there was Min-Jae. We'd meet for lunch. Innocent, I told myself. Just friends. But friends don't look at each other the way we did. Friends don't find excuses to touch. His hand on the small of my back guiding me into restaurants. My fingers brushing his when he'd hand me something. With Min-Jae, everything was soft. Easy. He made me laugh. Really laugh. The kind of laughter that made my stomach hurt. We'd walk through Seoul parks. He'd tell me stories about growing up with Jin-Woo. The good memories. Before the competition. Before the resentment. We used to be best friends, you know? Jin-Woo and me. When we were kids. He'd protect me from bullies. I'd help him with his homework. We were a team. What changed? Our father. He'd pit us against each other. Said competition made us stronger. That only one of us could lead. And Jin-Woo always won. There was such sadness in his voice. One afternoon, we were walking along the Han River. The sun was setting, turning everything golden. Min-Jae stopped, turned to me. Can I try something? What? He stepped closer, cupped my face with both hands. Gentle. So gentle. This. And he kissed me. Not like Jin-Woo's kisses. Not consuming or claiming. This was soft. Sweet. Like he was asking a question. Like he was cherishing something precious. And I kissed him back. Because God help me, I wanted this too. When we pulled apart, I was crying. I can't do this. I know. I'm sleeping with your brother. I know that too. Then why? Because I needed you to know what it could feel like. To be loved instead of owned. He wiped my tears with his thumbs. I'm not asking you to choose me. I just want you to know you deserve both. The passion and the peace. And if Jin-Woo can't give you both, then he doesn't deserve you. I wanted to tell him he was wrong. That Jin-Woo did love me. That this was real. But I couldn't. Because I wasn't sure. The next time I was with Jin-Woo, I couldn't stop thinking about Min-Jae's kiss. His words. To be loved instead of owned. Jin-Woo noticed. Of course he noticed. Where are you? We were in his bed. Naked. Tangled in sheets. He was tracing circles on my hip. What? Your mind. Where is it? Here. With you. Liar. He rolled on top of me. Pinned my wrists above my head with one hand. You're thinking about him, aren't you? My brother. Jin-Woo. It's okay. I know you've been seeing him. Having lunch. Taking walks. My blood went cold. You've been following me? I told you. I know everything. He kissed down my neck. Bit my shoulder. Hard enough to leave a mark. Let him court you. Let him feed you lies about love and happiness. But when you're in bed at night, aching, needing, it's my name you scream. You're crazy. Maybe. But you love it. He wasn't wrong. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to keep seeing my brother. You're going to let him fall deeper in love with you. And then, when the time is right, you're going to choose me. What if I choose him? His eyes went dark. Dangerous. You won't. How do you know? He leaned down. Lips brushing mine. Because Min-Jae offers you safety. But safety is boring. And you, my beautiful Amara, are not a woman who wants to be bored. He kissed me. Hard. Consuming. Proving his point. And damn him. He was right. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was at my desk at the warehouse, finishing up paperwork, when I heard shouting from upstairs. Jin-Woo's office. The warehouse floor went silent. Everyone stopped working. Shouting from Boss Park's office was rare. Shouting like this, loud enough to echo through the entire building, was unheard of. I looked up. Through the glass windows of his second-floor office, I could see two figures. Jin-Woo and Min-Jae. My stomach dropped. Mrs. Kim appeared beside my desk, wringing her hands nervously. Very bad. Very bad, she whispered in broken English. Brothers fighting. Never good. What's happening? She shook her head. Business trouble. Betrayal, maybe. Boss Park very angry. The shouting got louder. And then I heard it. Even from down here. Jin-Woo's voice booming. How could you? A crash. Something being thrown. Glass shattering. Every worker on the floor flinched. The office door flew open. Min-Jae stormed out, face red, jaw clenched. He looked furious. And hurt. His eyes scanned the warehouse floor and landed on me for just a second. I saw betrayal there. Confusion. Anger. Then he was gone. Down the stairs. Out the main entrance. Door slamming behind him. Jin-Woo appeared in his office doorway. Tie loosened. Hair disheveled. Breathing hard. He looked down at the warehouse floor, at all of us frozen and staring. Back to work. Now. Everyone scrambled. Forklifts started up. Conversations resumed. Pretending we hadn't heard anything. But I couldn't move. I just stared at Jin-Woo's office. At the broken glass visible through the windows. What the hell just happened? That evening, Jin-Woo texted me. Come to the penthouse. Now. We need to talk. Not his usual midnight summons. Not his commanding come to me. This was different. Business tone. I went. When I arrived, he was at his desk. Not at the window. Not waiting to kiss me. He was in full CEO mode. Papers spread everywhere. Laptop open. A tumbler of whiskey in his hand. He didn't look up when I entered. Sit. I sat on the couch. Waited. He downed his whiskey. Poured another. And finally turned to face me. Did you know? Know what? About my brother. About what he's been doing. My heart started racing. Jin-Woo, I don't understand. Don't lie to me, Amara. His voice was cold. Dangerous. You've been spending time with him. Lunches. Walks. Coffee. Did he ever mention the Huang Syndicate? The what? The Huang family. Our biggest competitors. The ones who've been trying to muscle into our territory for 5 years. I shook my head. Min-Jae never mentioned any business to me. We just talked about. About what? About how unfair I am. About how he deserves more. About how he's always lived in my shadow. Jin-Woo. He slammed his glass down. Walked to his desk. Pulled out a manila folder. Threw it on the coffee table in front of me. Open it. My hands shook as I opened the folder. Inside were photographs. Surveillance photos. Min-Jae meeting with men I didn't recognize. In restaurants. In parks. In parking garages. Timestamps on each photo. Dates going back 3 months. Who are these people? Hwang Young-soo, head of the Huang Syndicate. And his associates. Jin-Woo pointed to each photo. That's Min-Jae meeting with them. Regularly. Secretly. I looked at the photos. Min-Jae's face was clear in each one. Sitting across from these men. Shaking hands. Exchanging envelopes. There has to be an explanation. There is. He's selling us out. Giving them information about our routes. Our shipments. Our clients. Everything. No. Min-Jae wouldn't. Wouldn't what? Betray me? Betray the family? Jin-Woo laughed bitterly. He's been doing it for months, Amara. And I've been watching. Gathering evidence. Waiting to see how far he'd go. He pulled out more papers. Printed emails. Bank statements. Wire transfers. From Huang accounts to an offshore account in Min-Jae's name. $200,000 so far. Payment for information. I stared at the evidence. It looked real. Official. Damning. Why are you showing me this? Jin-Woo sat down next to me. Close. His hand found my chin. Tilted my face to look at him. Because I need to know if you're part of it. What? No. I would never. My brother is smart. Maybe he used you. Got close to you to get information from me. Pillow talk. Things I might mention when my guard is down. Jin-Woo, I swear, I didn't know anything about this. Min-Jae never asked me about your business. Never. He studied my face. Searching for lies. For betrayal. Finally, he released my chin. Leaned back. I believe you. You're too honest to be a good spy. It's one of the things I love about you. What are you going to do? About Min-Jae. What I have to do. What our father would have done. He betrayed the family. Betrayed me. There are consequences. You're going to turn him in? To the police? No. This stays in the family. We don't air our business to outsiders. But Min-Jae is finished. He'll be cut off. Banished. Stripped of everything. Jin-Woo, please. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe. There's no misunderstanding. I confronted him this afternoon. Showed him the evidence. You know what he did? He denied it. Said I was setting him up. That I fabricated everything just to get rid of him. And you didn't? The question came out before I could stop it. Jin-Woo's eyes went dark. Dangerous. Are you accusing me of framing my own brother? No. This seems convenient. Right when he and I have been getting closer. You think I'd destroy my brother over a woman? I don't know. Would you? Silence. Long, heavy. Then Jin-Woo stood. Walked to the window. Looked out at Seoul. My brother made his choices. I'm just dealing with the consequences. If you don't believe me, ask him yourself. Ask him if he's been meeting with the Hwangs. Ask him about the money. See what he says. Maybe I will. Good. And when he lies to you, when he tries to manipulate you into believing I'm the villain, remember who showed you the truth. Remember who's always been honest with you. He turned back to me. Now, are you staying? Or are you leaving? It felt like a test. Like my answer would determine everything. I stayed. Because I didn't know what else to do. Didn't know who to believe. Didn't know if the man I'd been falling for during lunch dates was a traitor. Or if the man I'd been sleeping with was a manipulator. That night, Jin-Woo made love to me differently. Slower. More intense. Like he was claiming me. Reminding me who I belonged to. And when he whispered, "You're mine. Only mine." Say it, I said it. Because I was scared. Confused. And desperately hoping I'd chosen the right brother. The next day, I tried calling Min-Jae. 7 times. He didn't answer. I texted him. We need to talk. Please. 3 hours later, he replied. Can't. Jin-Woo's having me followed. It's not safe. Is it true? The Hwang Syndicate? The meetings? The typing bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, it's not what it looks like. He's setting me up. I can't explain over text. Just trust me. Please. I want to. But there are photos. Bank statements. Evidence. Fabricated. All of it. He's been planning this for months. I just didn't see it coming. Why would he do that? Because he can't stand me having anything he doesn't control. Including you. My head was spinning. One brother showing me evidence. The other claiming it was fake. Both asking me to trust them. Both claiming the other was lying. I don't know what to believe anymore. I know. That's what he wants. Confusion. Doubt. It's how he wins. Min-Jae, I'm scared. Me too. But I'm going to fix this. I'm going to prove I didn't betray the family. Just give me time. How much time? I don't know. But stay away from me for now. If Jin-Woo thinks you're helping me, he'll come after you too. Come after me how? No response. Min-Jae? Just be careful. My brother is more dangerous than you think. I have to go. And he was gone. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling like I was drowning. Caught between 2 brothers. 2 versions of truth. 2 men I'd given pieces of myself to. And no idea which one was telling me the truth. The brothers knew. They both knew. But neither said a word. Like they were waiting. Playing a game I didn't understand. I'd be with Jin-Woo at night. Burning. Consuming. Lost in sensation and possession, and something that felt like love, but might have been obsession. Then I'd be with Min-Jae during the day. Laughing. Talking. Feeling seen and cherished and safe. And I was torn. Completely torn. How do you choose between fire and safety? Between being owned and being loved? Between the man who makes you forget yourself and the man who reminds you who you are? I couldn't. I was paralyzed by choice. Addicted to both. Needing both. Until the night I walked into Jin-Woo's penthouse and found them both there. Together. Waiting for me. I used Jin-Woo's key code to enter the penthouse. He'd given it to me weeks ago. Told me I could come anytime. The lights were dim. Candles everywhere. My heart started racing. This was different. This was planned. And then I saw them. Jin-Woo. Standing by the windows. Suit jacket off. Tie loosened. Drinking whiskey. And Min-Jae. Sitting on the couch. Casual clothes. But his face was hard. Angry. They both looked at me when I entered. And I knew. This was it. The moment I'd been dreading. Hello, Amara. His voice was cold. So cold. We need to talk. I set down my bag. Every instinct screaming at me to run. About what? Don't play dumb. It's insulting. He set down his glass. Walked toward me. Each step deliberate. Predatory. You've been sleeping with both of us. It wasn't a question. I never lied. You never told the truth either. He stood. Came to stand next to his brother. United front. For the first time since I'd met them, they looked like a team. And I was the enemy. Here's what I want to know. Did you plan this? Was this some game? Some way to make yourself feel powerful? No. I never planned. Then what? You just accidentally fell for both of us? Accidentally slept with Jin-Woo while holding my hand during walks? I care about both of you. Care. What a useless word. He laughed. But there was no humor. Just ice. I don't want your care, Amara. I want your soul. Your body. Your every thought. And I thought I had it. And I thought you were different. Thought you saw me. But you were just using me. To feel better about being his whore. The word hit like a slap. I flinched. Don't call me that. Why not? It's what you are. You spread your legs for my brother and your heart for me. Playing both sides. Enough. Jin-Woo's voice cut through. Sharp. Final. He looked at his brother. She didn't use anyone. We knew. Both of us. From the beginning. What? You think I didn't know about your lunches? Your walks? Your kiss by the Han River? Min-Jae's face went pale. I've had her followed since the day she started working for me. I know every move she makes. Every person she talks to. Everything. You what? I felt sick. Violated. And you. He looked at Min-Jae. You think I didn't know you'd make a move? I counted on it. Let you court her. Let you think you had a chance. Because I wanted to see how far she'd go. How far you'd go. You sick bastard. Maybe. But at least I'm honest about what I want. You're the one pretending to be noble while trying to steal what's mine. She's not yours. Yes, she is. They were shouting now. Years of resentment pouring out. And I was the catalyst. You always do this. Every girl I've ever liked, you had to have her first. Then maybe you should develop better taste. This isn't about taste. This is about you not being able to stand me having anything that you don't control. Maybe that's because everything you have I gave you. The job. The car. The apartment. Your entire existence depends on me. Then take it. Take it all. But you can't have her. Watch me. Min-Jae lunged. Actually lunged at his brother. They crashed to the floor. Fists flying. Brutal. Vicious. Stop. Please stop. But they didn't hear me. Jin-Woo got Min-Jae in a chokehold. Min-Jae elbowed him in the ribs. They were destroying each other. And it was my fault. Finally, they separated. Both bleeding. Breathing hard. Glaring at each other with pure hatred. I'm done. Done living in your shadow. Done being the spare. Done letting you win. Then let's settle this. The way father would have. Min-Jae went still. The game. You and me. Winner takes everything. The business. The empire. He looked at me. And her. You can't be serious. I'm not a prize you can win. They both looked at me. And in their eyes, I saw the truth. To them, I was. I'd always been. Fine. The game. 1 week. We prepare. Father's estate. Friday at dawn. They didn't shake hands. Just stared at each other. Years of brotherhood reduced to this. War. And when I win, you leave. You leave the business. Leave Seoul. Leave her. And when I win, you're banished. From the family. From the business. From everything. Deal. They both turned to me. Choose. Right now. Before the game. Him or me. Choose, Amara. I looked between them. The man who made me burn. The man who made me feel safe. Fire and ice. Chaos and peace. Danger and comfort. I can't. The words came out broken. Tears streaming down my face. I love you both. I need you both. How am I supposed to choose? Then we play. And may the best brother win. Jin-Woo walked past me. Stopped. Turned back. I'll see you in 1 week. And Amara? Yes? Whatever happens, remember this. You were mine first. He left. Min-Jae approached me. Wiped my tears. Gentle even now. I'm going to win. And when I do, I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving that you made the right choice. He kissed my forehead. And left too. And I stood there. Alone. In Jin-Woo's penthouse. Surrounded by evidence of their fight. Blood on the floor. Broken glass. Shattered picture frames. Knowing that in 1 week, I'd lose one of them. And maybe both. Because how could either of them forgive me for loving his brother? Their father, Park Dae-young, had been a legend. Not just in business. In Seoul's underworld. The kind of man who built empires with his bare hands and crushed enemies without blinking. When he died, he left behind more than money. He left a tradition. A ritual. The game. The Park family estate was in the mountains outside Seoul. Traditional Korean architecture. Beautiful. But there was something dark about it. Like it held secrets. Ghosts. I arrived at dawn. Just like they'd instructed. A black car picked me up. Silent driver. Drove for an hour into the hills. The estate appeared like something from another time. Stone walls. Cherry blossom trees. A main house that sprawled across the hilltop. Min-Jae was already there. Wearing traditional Korean hanbok. Black. Simple. He looked like a warrior from ancient times. He didn't smile when he saw me. Just nodded. You came. Did you think I wouldn't? I hoped you would run. Leave Seoul. Leave us both. Save yourself. I can't. I know. He stepped closer. Took my hands. His were shaking. This confident, easy man was terrified. If I lose today, if Jin-Woo wins, promise me something. What? Don't let him consume you completely. Remember who you are. Remember Amara from Lagos who survived on $300 and a dream. Don't lose her. Min-Jae. Promise me. I promise. He pulled me into a hug. Held me tight. Like he was trying to memorize how I felt in his arms. Whatever happens today, know that I loved you. Really loved you. Not the idea of you. Not winning you for my brother. Just you. He kissed me then. Soft. Sweet. Goodbye. And then Jin-Woo arrived. He wore traditional hanbok too. White. Pristine. Like a king. He looked at us. At me in Min-Jae's arms. And something flashed across his face. Pain. Quickly hidden. Are we ready? His voice was cold. All business. Min-Jae released me. Stepped back. Let's end this. They led me into the main house. To a room I'd never seen before. Traditional. Tatami mats. Shoji screens. And in the center, a game board. But it wasn't chess. It was jangi. Korean chess. More complex. More strategic. More brutal. Our father designed this variant himself. Each piece represents an asset. A business. A property. A connection. We each control half of the Park Empire. To win, you must force your opponent into a position where they lose everything. No violence during play. Only strategy. Father's only rule. The game can last days. Weeks if needed. We play in turns. 24 hours to make each move. And if it ends in stalemate? They looked at each other. It won't. An old man entered. Ancient. Dressed in traditional robes. He bowed. I am Master Choi. I served your father. I will adjudicate this game. My word is final. He looked at me. And you are the prize. The catalyst. Sit. Watch. Bear witness to what men do for love. I sat. On a cushion by the wall. Out of the way. But close enough to see everything. Master Choi arranged the pieces. Each one intricately carved. Beautiful. Deadly. The first game was for your father's car. Min-Jae won. Min-Jae smiled slightly. The second game was for control of shipping. Jin-Woo won. Jin-Woo's face remained impassive. This is the third game. The tiebreaker. Winner takes all. The Empire. The name. And her. He looked at them both. Begin. Min-Jae moved first. Opened with the shipping routes. The moves our father had taught him. Bold. Aggressive. Jin-Woo countered. The warehouse networks. Defensive. Patient. Building walls. Move after move. Hour after hour. I sat there. Watching. Unable to look away. It was beautiful. The strategy. The way their minds worked. Like watching two masters paint. But it was also terrifying. Because I knew. One wrong move and everything would be lost. That is day one. You will rest. Resume tomorrow at dawn. They didn't speak. Didn't look at each other. Just left. I tried to follow Jin-Woo. He stopped me at the door. Don't. Not until this is over. Jin-Woo, please. If you distract me, I lose. And if I lose you. So please. Stay away. He walked away. Shoulders tense. Alone. I turned to find Min-Jae. He was standing in the garden. Staring at nothing. Min-Jae? He's better than I remembered. Stronger. You can still win. Maybe. Maybe not. He turned to me. In the moonlight, he looked lost. Can I hold you? Just for tonight? No expectations. I just need to remember what I'm fighting for. We sat in the garden. His arms around me. My head on his chest. His heartbeat steady under my ear. Tell me about Lagos. About your life before all this. So I did. I told him about my family. My dreams. The girl I used to be. And he listened. Really listened. Like my words were precious. When dawn came, we went back to the game. Day 3. They were even. Perfectly even. Every move countered. Every attack defended. Master Choi was impressed. In 40 years of adjudicating these games, I have never seen two opponents so perfectly matched. Day 5. Still even. But something was changing. They were exhausted. Both of them. Barely eating. Barely sleeping. Consumed by the game. I brought them tea. Tried to make them rest. They ignored me. Eyes only on the board. Day 6. Min-Jae made a move that shocked everyone. A sacrifice. Giving up a major piece to gain position. Jin-Woo stared at the board for 3 hours. Then smiled. Father taught you that. You were in New York. He said I'd need it someday. It's brilliant. Thank you. For a moment, they weren't enemies. They were brothers. And my heart broke watching them. I've missed you, you know. My brother. My best friend. I've missed you too. Why did it come to this? Because we're our father's sons. And he taught us to compete. Maybe we should have learned to share. Too late now. Yes. Too late. Jin-Woo made his countermove. Equally brilliant. Equally devastating. And the game continued. Day 7. The final day. Master Choi said the game must conclude by sunset. No exceptions. The tension was unbearable. Every piece movement felt like life or death. I couldn't watch. I paced the gardens. Prayed to gods I didn't believe in. Begged the universe for a solution where no one lost. But there wasn't one. There never had been. At 5 p.m. I heard shouting. Ran back to the game room. Jin-Woo had made his move. And Min-Jae was staring at the board. Face white. No. There has to be a counter. There has to be. He studied the board. Moved pieces in his mind. Calculating. Desperate. And then his shoulders slumped. Checkmate. The word fell like a bomb. Park Jin-Woo is victorious. The empire, the name, and the woman belong to him. Jin-Woo didn't celebrate. Just sat there. Looking as devastated as his brother. Min-Jae. Don't. You won. Fair and square. Father would be proud. I don't feel proud. You will. Eventually. Min-Jae stood. Turned to Master Choi. What are the terms of my banishment? You keep your life. Your personal assets. But you lose all connection to Park Industries. All family businesses. You must leave Seoul within 48 hours. You may not return for 5 years minimum. And her? She belongs to your brother. Min-Jae finally looked at me. Really looked at me. And I saw everything he didn't say. All the love. All the pain. All the what could have beens. Take care of her. Better than I could have. He walked toward the door. I ran after him. Min-Jae, wait. He stopped. Didn't turn around. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. No, it's not. This was always going to happen. You were just the excuse we needed. I loved you. I still love you. I know, but you love him more. He finally turned, tears streaming down his face. And that's okay, because he'll give you the fire, the passion, the intensity, all the things I couldn't. Min-Jae, be happy, Amara. That's all I want. For you to be happy. He kissed my forehead one last time and walked away. I watched him go, watched the car drive away, watched until I couldn't see him anymore. And then I collapsed, sobbing, grieving, because I'd chosen. By not choosing, I'd chosen. And Min-Jae was gone. That night, I couldn't sleep. The estate felt empty without Min-Jae. Haunted. I wandered the halls. Lost. Broken. And that's when I heard them. Voices. Coming from Jin-Woo's study. Angry voices. I crept closer. The door was slightly open. Inside, Jin-Woo. And men I'd never seen before. Rough-looking. Tattoos. The kind of men who lived in shadows. You promised us access to the routes. Now that you've won, we expect payment. You'll get what I promised. Once everything is settled. We did our part. Leaked the information to Min-Jae. Made him think he had an advantage. Made him desperate. My blood ran cold. And I appreciate it. But I need to be careful. If Min-Jae finds out I set him up. Too late for that. He's banished. He'll never know. True. He sounded satisfied. Triumphant. That brother of yours. He really thought he could win? Min-Jae always was naive. Thought the game was about strategy. But it was about information. And I had all of it. He laughed. Cold. Cruel. I knew every move he'd make before he made it. Because I planned them. Planted seeds. Guided him exactly where I wanted him. The room spun. I gripped the wall to stay upright. And the girl? Was she part of the plan too? Silence. Long silence. No. She was unexpected. But useful. Min-Jae's feelings for her made him reckless. Easy to manipulate. So you used her. I use everyone. That's how you win. I couldn't listen anymore. Couldn't breathe. I backed away. Quiet as possible. Found a bathroom. Locked myself in. And broke. Jin-Woo had orchestrated everything. The game was rigged from the start. He'd manipulated his own brother. Used me as bait. Destroyed Min-Jae's life for nothing more than power. The man I loved. The man I'd chosen. Was a monster. I heard footsteps in the hall. Jin-Woo looking for me. I splashed cold water on my face. Composed myself. Unlocked the door. He was standing there. Concern on his face. Or what looked like concern. Amara? I've been looking for you. Are you okay? Fine. Just needed some air. He pulled me into his arms. Held me close. I know today was hard. Watching Min-Jae leave. But it's over now. We can finally be together. Just us. I let him hold me. Let him think I believed him. Jin-Woo? Yes? Did you love me? At all? Or was I just a piece in your game? He pulled back. Looked at me. And for a moment, I saw something real in his eyes. Something vulnerable. I've never loved anyone the way I love you. You're the only real thing in my world of lies. He kissed me. Soft. Tender. And I kissed him back. Because I needed to know. Needed to believe. That some part of this was real. But that night, alone in my room, I made a decision. I would marry him. Play the role of the perfect wife. But I would never forget what I'd heard. Never trust him completely. Because the monster who looks like a savior is the most dangerous kind. 3 days after Min-Jae left, Jin-Woo took me back to Seoul. Back to his penthouse. Back to the life we'd built in stolen moments. But everything felt different now. Tainted. He was gentle with me. Patient. Like he knew I was grieving. He'd hold me while I cried. Stroke my hair. Whisper reassurances. I know you miss him. It's okay. I understand. But I'd remember those men. That conversation. And wonder how much of this gentleness was real. 1 month later, he proposed. We were on his balcony, overlooking Seoul, the city we'd both conquered in different ways. He'd made dinner, actually cooked for me. Pasta carbonara, wine, candles. I need to tell you something. I set down my wine glass, prepared for another revelation. When my father died, he told Min-Jae and me that power doesn't make you a man. Love does. The ability to protect what you love, to sacrifice for it. He stood, came around the table, knelt in front of me. I've done terrible things, Amara. Things I'm not proud of. I've lied, manipulated, destroyed people who got in my way. He took my hands. But with you, I want to be different. Better. I want to be the man who deserves you, not the man who won you. He pulled out a ring. Simple. Elegant. A single diamond that caught the light. Amara Okafor. Will you marry me? Not because I won you in a game, but because you choose me. Every single day. With full knowledge of who I am and what I've done. I looked at him. This complicated, dangerous, beautiful man. And I thought about everything. The passion. The lies. The manipulation. The moments of tenderness. And I thought about Min-Jae. Gone. Vanished. Heartbroken. Yes. The word came out firm. Decided. Yes. Yes. I'll marry you. But on one condition. Anything. No more lies. No more games. If we do this, we do it honestly. I need to know I can trust you. Something flickered in his eyes. Guilt? Shame? I promise. No more lies. He slid the ring on my finger. And kissed me. Deep. Possessive. Sealing the deal. We married 3 months later. Traditional Korean ceremony. I wore a white hanbok. He wore black. We bowed to his ancestors. Made vows in Korean I barely understood. The wedding was beautiful. Hundreds of guests. People I'd never met. Business associates. Family members. Everyone celebrating the union. But Min-Jae's absence was loud. Deafening. I smiled. Played the happy bride. Let Jin-Woo introduce me as his wife. Let photographers capture our perfect moments. But inside, I was hollow. That night, our wedding night, Jin-Woo made love to me slowly. Carefully. Like I might break. I will spend every day proving I deserve you. I know. I love you, Amara. More than power. More than the empire. More than anything. And I almost believed him. 6 months later, I discovered I was pregnant. Jin-Woo cried when I told him. Actually cried. Tears of joy streaming down his face. A baby. Our baby. He kissed my still flat stomach. Made plans. Harvard. CEO training. World domination. I laughed to spite myself. She's not even born yet. She? You think it's a girl? I know it is. He held me. And for a moment, everything felt right. Real. Like we could actually be happy. But then came the letter. It was a Tuesday morning. 7 months pregnant. Sorting through mail at our penthouse. Most of it was business. Bills. Invitations to events. The usual. But one envelope stood out. Plain. White. No return address. Just my name in handwriting I recognized instantly. Min-Jae. My hands shook opening it. Jin-Woo was at work. I was alone. Inside, a single page. Handwritten. His neat, careful script. I read. Amara, by the time you read this, you'll be married. Maybe pregnant. Living the life I wanted to give you. I need you to know something. And I need you to really hear this. The night Jin-Woo caught me with the Hwang Syndicate, he orchestrated the whole thing. I never made a deal with them. I never planned to hurt Jin-Woo. But he made it look like I did. He planted those men. Recorded conversations that never happened. Created evidence from nothing. Made it look like I'd betrayed the family. Why? Because he knew I was winning. Knew that you were choosing me. And he couldn't let that happen. The game was rigged from the start, Amara. Every move I made, he'd planned for. Every advantage I thought I had, he'd given me. He didn't just outplay me. He destroyed me. Systematically. Perfectly. And I let him. Because I believed in honor. In playing fair. In the sanctity of family. I was a fool. I'm not writing this to win you back. It's too late for that. And, honestly, I've spent this year in Singapore trying to forget you. Trying to move on. But I can't let you live a lie. Can't let you believe you chose the better man. Your husband is smarter than you think. More dangerous than you know. More ruthless than you can imagine. The man you sleep next to every night? He's the monster in this story. Not me. I'm not asking you to leave him. I'm not asking for anything. I just need you to know the truth. Be careful who you love, Amara. Because sometimes the monster isn't the one who looks like a monster. It's the one who looks like a savior. I hope you're happy. I hope he gives you everything you deserve. I hope I'm wrong about all of this. But I don't think I am. Take care of yourself. And that baby you're carrying. With love, always, Min-Jae. The letter fell from my hands. I sat there. Frozen. Mind spinning. It could be true. Everything he said could be true. Jin-Woo was capable of it. I'd heard him with those men. Heard him admit to manipulation. But did it matter? Min-Jae had still been planning something with those men. Even if Jin-Woo planted them, Min-Jae had engaged. Had been willing to betray. Or had he? I didn't know. Couldn't know. Would never know for certain. I heard Jin-Woo's key in the lock. He was home early. I had seconds to decide. Confront him. Demand the truth. Blow up everything we'd built. Or burn the letter. Choose to trust. Choose him. He walked in. Saw me on the couch. Honey? What's wrong? I looked at him. My husband. The father of my child. The man I'd chosen. And I made my decision. I stood. Walked to the fireplace. Turned on the gas. Nothing. Just cleaning up some old mail. I dropped the letter into the flames. Watched it curl. Blacken. Turn to ash. You sure you're okay? You look pale. Just tired. The baby's been active today. He came over. Pulled me into his arms. His hand on my pregnant belly. Feeling our daughter kick. She's going to be so beautiful. Just like her mother. I closed my eyes. Let him hold me. Let myself believe. Because what choice did I have? Leave him? Raise my daughter alone in a country where I had no family? Go back to Lagos with nothing? Or stay? Choose to trust. Choose to forgive. Choose to believe that whatever he'd done in the past, he loved me now. Jin-Woo? Yes? Do you love me? Really love me? He pulled back. Looked at me with those dark eyes. More than anything in this world. You and our daughter. You're my everything. Promise me you'll never lie to me again. Something flickered in his face. Just for a second. I promise. And I chose to believe him. Because love isn't about knowing everything. It's about choosing. Every single day. Even when it's hard. Even when there are questions. I chose Jin-Woo. For better or worse. 3 months later, our daughter was born. We named her Hannah. It means one in Korean. And flower in Japanese. Jin-Woo said it meant she was our first miracle. But to me, it meant something else. One choice. One love. One life. One decision that changed everything. She was perfect. Tiny. Beautiful. Had my nose and Jin-Woo's eyes. When I held her for the first time, I cried. Not sad tears. Overwhelmed tears. This was mine. This tiny human. Created from chaos and passion and complicated love. Jin-Woo was incredible. Gentle. Patient. He'd wake up for midnight feedings. Change diapers without complaining. Sing to her in Korean. I'd watch him hold her. This dangerous, ruthless man cradling our daughter like she was made of glass. And my heart would break and heal at the same time. I never knew I could love like this. Like what? Completely. Without reservation. Without calculation. He looked at me. You and Hannah. You've made me human again. And I believed him. Chose to believe him. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. Regret coming to Seoul. Regret getting involved with 2 dangerous men. Regret choosing Jin-Woo over Min-Jae. The truth? I regret the pain I caused Min-Jae. I regret that things couldn't be different. I regret that he's in Singapore, building a new life, probably still heartbroken. But I don't regret my choice. Because here's what I learned. Love isn't clean. It's not simple. It doesn't fit into boxes or follow rules or make sense. Sometimes you fall for the wrong person. Sometimes you fall for 2 people. Sometimes the person who's perfect for you on paper destroys you. And sometimes the person who terrifies you becomes your home. I came to Seoul broken. Desperate. Nobody. A warehouse clerk with a tourist visa and $347. And I became someone. Mrs. Park. Mother. Wife of one of Seoul's most powerful men. But more importantly, I became myself. Strong. Complicated. Flawed. Real. Not because a man chose me, but because I chose myself. Even when it hurt. Even when it was messy. Even when I had to make impossible decisions. As for Min-Jae, I heard through mutual acquaintances that he's doing well. Started his own business in Singapore. Import-export. Nothing to do with the family. I hope he's found peace. Hope he's found someone who loves him without complication. Who sees him without shadows. Part of me will always love him. The gentleness. The safety. The what could have been. But I don't regret choosing Jin-Woo. The fire. The passion. The complicated, messy, dangerous love that made me feel alive. This was my story. The story of how I fell in love with two brothers and survived to tell about it. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a warning. It's not a lesson. It's just life. Messy. Beautiful. Dangerous. Real. And I wouldn't change a single thing. So that's my story. And I have some questions for you. First, did I make the right choice? Jin-Woo or Min-Jae? Drop a comment. I genuinely want to know what you think. Because even now, even with Hannah sleeping in the next room and Jin-Woo working late at the office, I sometimes wonder. Second, that letter from Min-Jae. If you were me, would you have burned it? Or confronted Jin-Woo? Would you have demanded the truth? Or would you have chosen peace? Be honest. And third, have you ever been caught between two people? Two choices that both felt right and wrong at the same time? Because if you have, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. Love is complicated. People are complicated. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose. Even if it's messy. Even if you never know for certain if you chose right. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real stories about love, danger, and the choices that change everything. And if you want to know what happened next, because yes, there's more to this story, check out the video I'm dropping next week. Because Min-Jae? He didn't stay gone. 6 months ago, he came back to Seoul. And what he came back for, well, let's just say the game was far from over. Thank you for watching. Your comments mean everything to me. Every single one. I read them all. See you next week.